Have you ever watched players like Aspas, Sam, Tarek or Curry and thought to yourself, man, these guys play against Radiants and make it look so easy? Sure, they all have insane mechanics, but oftentimes when you see them play, it's not even about that. They get free kills where the enemy seemingly has no chance to win the duel, and it's because they do the small things right, and it adds up. I'm Marlo, and what I just said is the reason that today I want to highlight 3 undervalued tips that will instantly make you a better player and get you those free frags too. Let's start off with taking timings to reposition. This is actually a huge tip that you should abuse as often as possible. You have to understand that information is everything in this game. Your enemies will always be prepared for the last position you were seen in, and if you fight them from that position, they will have good crosshair placement and be prepared for the fight, making it much harder to come out on top. So if you get a timing in which the enemy loses vision on you, then you need to realize that this is your chance to move into an unexpected angle and prepare those free kills. In this example here, I'm in a 1-on-2 clutch and my position is known after I fought both players from default. So I start retreating and use my blind to buy myself some time to reposition. I move around towards backside and set up in an off angle to hopefully get one and dismiss out. But luck is in my favor even, so I instantly get 2 with a lineup and win the clutch. You can see that KJ was aware of me potentially holding this angle, but since they can't be sure where exactly I am and time pressure is on my side, this duel is still shifted in my favor heavily. There are tons of different timings and opportunities in which you can move yourself into unexpected angles, and you should try to do so as often as possible. Because in such a low time to kill game as Valorant, you are going to win 90% of the fights in which you get the jump on the enemy. And so with clever repositioning, you can consistently outplay your opponents. Tip number 2 is playing around your teammates' pressure. Now we all know this concept from trading. A teammate pulls the enemy's attention and crosshair on himself, and so if you're able to swing and fight on the timing, you set yourself up for a free kill. But playing around your teammates' pressure is not only about trading properly. There are lots of other moments in which understanding this concept makes the difference in winning or losing the round. Let's look at a bad example from myself here. I am flanking B main on Sunset and I'm able to get the first kill because the Cypher camp didn't spot me. But now, of course, I am spotted, and what I need to understand is that I just pulled all of the pressure towards me. The enemy team is alert of the flank and they will turn around and try to kill me to relieve that pressure. So my job now is to stay alive and let my team do the next move by either fighting B main from the other side or starting to rotate towards mid in order to support me eventually. So I should be tucking and spamming out my util, making myself as hard to kill as possible. As soon as my teammates ramp up the pressure again, then I can fight and do something myself. But instead of doing that, I instantly swing again and get myself killed and all the pressure is gone. So now the enemy team can rotate towards the other bomb site and my team can't do anything because my pressure from the other side is gone. This concept applies to other situations as well. Let's say you are flanking and there's tons of fighting and action going on. You probably have a good timing to commit to the flank and peek because your team has pressure. On the other hand, if you've heard nothing for a while and your team has no pressure and there's no fighting going on, then you should probably hold on for a moment because it could be that the enemy team is resetting and checking for flanks, etc. So always be aware of what your team is doing and who has the pressure at the moment. When your team has pressure, then try to make a play while the enemy is distracted. If you have pressure, then try to keep up that pressure for as long as possible without dying and let your team do the next move. This way, not only are you going to win more rounds and games, but your team play metric on our free improvement tool Insight is also going to skyrocket, which is a nice side effect. For the final tip, I have something more mechanical for you guys that will help you a lot in fights in which you are the player holding an angle. In these situations, you should start abusing prefires more often. Prefiring means that you shoot before you actually see the enemy. You're essentially anticipating the exact moment in which you think they will peek and you simply fire a single bullet or a burst. The advantage is obvious. If you time your pre-fire well, then the enemy will die instantly and there is nothing they can do about it, because you are eliminating reaction time from the equation. And if you are close to cover, the downside of this technique can be pretty much eliminated as well. If you mistime your pre-fire or the guy manages to slip through in between your bullets, you simply retreat behind the angle and now you're the one with peeker's advantage. Of course, this technique also works when you are the one peeking. If you know someone is in a certain angle or you just think it's highly likely they are there, then you can strafe out, pre-fire the spot while dead zoning and immediately strafe back into cover. You are rarely going to get killed while doing this. This technique is all about understanding timings in gunfights, and if you practice it, you will be able to win a ton of fights without any counterplay. Now, if you're looking for more out-of-the-box advice, then I highly recommend you watch this video linked on screen next. It features a different approach on how to improve and become a good Valorant player. I'll see you there.